In this video, I will be making a deck building guide that will help you improve your deck and make a new deck that will be good for the present and future. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is the deck composition. So let's get into it. Firstly, I want to talk about your win conditions. Win condition, a card that is primarily used to damage and take your opponent's tower to win you your games. Here is a photo of all primary and secondary win condition, not including card like Princess and Rocket. For win conditions, I would recommend either one heavy-hitting win condition such as Golem or Ram Rider, or you can have a combination of two win condition that have lots of chemistry such as Lava Hound and Balloon or Miner and Wall Breakers. Every deck you make should always have a win condition as your deck is based around them. Next up, I want to talk about mini tanks. Mini tanks are ground units that have a decent amount of health and damage. Here are all the mini tanks in the game. Also cards like Berserker I want to include since she is very solid. You should always have a mini tank as they are good for defending small attacks and stopping cards like Mega Knight and pressure cards like Bandit. And always remember to use cards that are good in the meta, or if you're having a problem with a card specifically such as Mega Knight, a good option would be Mighty Miner. Next up, I want to talk about your distraction units or swarm cards. Swarm cards, one card that consists of multiple units that can take critical hits from cards such as P.E.K.K.A. and Prince. An example of swarms cards are Guards, Skeletons, Skeleton Army, etc. I highly recommend swarm cards such as Guards' Skeleton Army evolved since mini P.E.K.K.A. is dominating the meta currently. So now we know what we need for ground defense. Next we want to move on to our air defense. For our air defense, we're going to want to have two cards and make sure one of them isn't too expensive. Here is a photo of all the air defense cards. And again, always use cards that are good in the meta. These two cards are very important in dealing with ground units also, so pick wisely of which cards you pick. Also, buildings such as Tesla and Inferno Tower are very useful in taking down air units on a short duration, but there is no deck that is complete without spells. I recommend having one big spell and one small spell, since the big spell can wipe out big pushes and deal damage to towers, while small spells can wipe out annoying cards like Goblin and Skeleton Barrel. And remember, the key to a good deck is chemistry, so your spells should pair well with your win condition, such as Earthquake, taking out buildings so the Hog or Ram Rider can get to buildings. Second to lastly is your tower troops. For whatever weakness your tower troop has, you need to pick cards that are good against your tower troop's weakness. An example of this is if you have Cannoneer, you need cards with good splash damage, and if you use Dagger Duchess, who is bad against tank, you need tank killers such as one of the Infernos or a card like Mini P.E.K.K.A. and Prince. For tower troops such as Chef Tower, you need to play a beatdown deck that relies on heavy tanks that will get stupidly good interactions if they are overleveled. Lastly, I will talk about he decks. Average elixir cost. For a deck where you cruel to you in condition, you should have a cost with a max of around 3.3, whereas if you play beat down, I would max out at 4.6.